This week, NBA opening week is upon us, so we do our annual NBA ticket squads. We got to talk what we're excited about. We get an inside look to a new basketball pathway in becoming a professional basketball player with the GM and head of basketball at Overtime Elite in Atlanta, Damien Wilkins.
DK, as always, this episode of One Star Recruits is brought to you by 500 Level. It's 500level.com for all the hottest t-shirts in sports. Overtime Elite fans, you can get a SAR and a Men Thompson shirts now on 500level.com. They got all the stars of the NBA. Anybody you're looking for, go to 500level.com. Check it out. Use the discount code ONESTAR at checkout for 20% off everything on the site. Let's go.
What's up, everyone? This is Damien Wilkins. I'm on the One Star Recruits podcast. Tune in.
Yo, aloha. Welcome to the One Star Recruits podcast. I'm DK, joined with my best friend of 30 years, Rip. Keep the music going, Rip. We're going to kick it off. We've been getting a lot of downloads on our last couple podcasts. I believe it's because we're starting them off with Rip's reactions. Keep the music going, Winston. Let's go right into it. You ready?
That must be what people are looking for, DK. Let's keep it going.
Stick with us if you're a new listener. We're going to get some reactions here. Rip, Kansas was voted number 1 in the AP college basketball poll. Top 3 basketball buildings you've been to. Go.
Pro and college? Or can I add high school in there? Can I put Marcos Deniza in there?
No, you're buying time too, I think. Just college. Top 3 college basketball buildings you've been to personally.
Oh my God, I'm going Thomas and Mack Center, UNLV, back with you, back probably about 15 years ago, NBA Summer League. So it wasn't for a college game, but just right offside the Vegas Strip there. That experience is like no other. Great gym, Thomas and Mack Center in Las Vegas. Number 2, I haven't been to many, man. I'm going to admit it. So I got to go Arizona State. It used to be Wells Fargo Arena, but I believe it's called like Desert Life or Desert Financial. Little intimate gym, not a great basketball program, but our guy Bobby Hurley doing his thing out there. So Arizona State number 2, and number 3. But this is my limited exposure. But there's actually about a half a mile from my house, they have the Long Beach State basketball arena. It's called the Walter Pyramid. It's literally shaped like a pyramid. It looks like the Luxor in Vegas. It's a college basketball arena. I drive by it every day. It's amazing, DK. A very small venue, but when that place is rocking, it's a great place to see a game.
You need to travel more, Rip. I think I've been to a UCLA game at Poly, so funny they didn't make the list. We had a very fun experience with watching the UC Anteaters play. And I think you might have been to a Stanford, Oregon game with me in Palo Alto, but I like that. Respect that list, bro. I respect it. Let's stay on. This seems to be a little topical. Let's do the Detroit Lions have entered the Super Bowl conversation, which welcome. A couple great teams lose, and we take in the Detroit Lions. Dan Campbell, Coach of the Year candidate, has been really vocal about seeing tons of Detroit fans on the road. True or false? The city of Detroit and the professional sports teams as a whole have the best logos as a city in all of sports.
Oh man, right off the top of the head, I mean, I'm gonna go with the field on that one. I don't even know why, but
let me give you a couple to think too. The Detroit Tigers. There's always a clean hat. Always a clean hat. Always. It never fails. Red Wings, it's a classic. Detroit Pistons, another classic that I think is actually bubbling to become cooler than they've ever been, the Detroit Pistons. And then the Detroit Lions, just excellent colors, great colors. I think it's the best as a collective city. If you can throw another city at me as a collective city, has a better overall logo scheme.
Yeah, you might be onto something. I mean, my mind goes to the big ones: New York, LA, and the Bay Area. The Giants logo is amazing. It's really the 2 letters and the old English letters, the D on the Tigers hat. Those are the best hats to me, right? The San Francisco.
It's got to be as a whole. San Francisco, you lose me with the Sharks, and the Warriors is nice, but it's not. It doesn't have the same je ne sais quoi. And then LA, some clean stuff. I'm not a big fan of the Kings. The Clippers, I'm not a big fan of too much.
How about New York? The Mets and the Yankees. We got the Knicks have a great logo.
The Islanders throw it off a little bit. They have a team called the Red Bulls. I mean, automatically that takes their stock down. I'm just collectively, Rip. Collectively.
You might be right. I had to put some more thought into that, but you might be onto something.
Yo, Pat McAfee had to defend paying Aaron Rodgers a reported 7 figures for weekly appearances. Is this how the media YouTube podcast game is going to be played, Rip? Is this a bad precedent, or maybe should Mr. Pat, just have kept quiet? Is this going to ruin the game for everybody else?
It's really interesting, man. I see Pat's point in that, Aaron Rodgers' time is worth a lot of money, and he's taking the time every week to go on that show. So I see his point as to why he pays him. Maybe I'm old school, but I'm still in the opinion of, these guys should like the show enough and like that experience enough to go on for free. And like I said, maybe I'm old school, but that's how our podcast has always operated. If your question is that the way of the future? I think it's just TBD, man. We'll see if it changes anything, because it was a pretty big story last week when it happened. And I'd like to see other people come out and say they're paying them. And then if you see a pattern, I think maybe it is the future. But I think for right now, it's kind of an anomaly.
Yeah, there it is. And it gets into the future. Winston, turn the music down. It gets into the future. That ties really in. Rip, nice brother. Good to see you. I know you've been doing T-ball. I had to reschedule today. I appreciate you. But you look great. Thank you for fitting in the podcast.
Number one priority always, man. Come on.
Always. I know it's good for the soul, man. It's like it's the therapy of white men in their 40s. So onward we will go with it. But dude, so cool to have Damien Wilkins on for a variety of reasons. But very cool to me, first and foremost, for people who are new to the Overtime Elite model and what it is, which I thought I knew. I didn't really know until talking to Damien. It's nice to see the world adjusting and recognizing that the traditional routes, which is go to high school, go to college, play one and done if you're really good, or play some years and get drafted, has started to tilt a little bit, especially for the best prospects in the world. And it's starting to be done differently. And this is the model. This is the one they're going to look back 10 years from now and say, look at Overtime Elite. Look what they're doing. What's funny, bro, is they've been doing this same similar model in Europe with the Premier League forever with great tennis stars. They end up at the Bollettieri School of Tennis down in Tampa, Florida. When they're 6 years old, they're able to see this talent early and go specialize in it. And it's exciting to me to see that it's turning towards basketball. This hasn't been an option before. Now this kind of niche area of become a professional has turned to basketball and the best prospects in the world.
Yeah, it's like you said. I think the key word you used is option. It's an alternative. It's a new option. It's the new way of doing things, especially with the NIL thing taking over college. It is. It's just another options for these kids, and life is all about options, man. That the more options you have, the better choice you can make, I think. And this year is going to be a real test, DK. They were in year 3, and they literally did something that's never been done. They produced a pair of brothers that went in the top 5 of the NBA draft, DK. So this year is going to be a huge test. They're obviously not going to do that again. That may never happen again. But are they going to keep cranking out prospects to the NBA draft on a yearly basis? It's a big test.
Mm-hmm. And they're gonna. Just some guys, basketball heads to keep your eye on. They got a kid named Dos Santos. He's from Brazil. He's gonna be in that draft. They got a guy named Carter Knox. Rip. He's the younger bro of Kevin Knox, who's on the Pistons, my sleeper team. I'm gonna say the Pistons 3 times in this podcast, and I'm gonna keep it going. That means equals success if I say them 3 times. So good though. I think he's the number 7 player in the class, 6'5", everything that you kind of want in developing a prospect. You're exactly spot on, Rip, with options. I was reading about a recruit that Purdue landed, Cannon Catchings. He had that option as a senior to commit to Purdue. That's where he was going to play. What's crazy about Cannon is he's been playing basketball with the same group of guys since 3rd grade. Same programs in middle school, same AAU programs, 3 years in high school. Senior year, guess what he decided, bro? He decided to leave his senior year and go to Atlanta to join the Overtime Elite. Would a normal teenager do that, Rip? You making that decision? I made a decision to go back to my high school because I missed hanging out with my friends so bad. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, it's something new, man, and I'm curious as to how much these guys are getting paid. Damien didn't tell us that during the interview. We did offer $250 to put our logo on the jerseys, which I think he immediately declined. But yeah, the money's interesting because you can make money from NIL now, and you can make money from Overtime Elite, and you get paid for the G League. So it's one of many options. So I'm really curious to see how this plays out.
Yeah. You know what won Cannon over in this recruiting and just what we talked about with D. Wilkins? he visited the complex and he witnessed the operations firsthand. And it was pretty simple. You look at the Ahmed and Asar, drafted number 4 and 5. You just see the operation. You realize high school is actually really tough for these super prospects right now. To all the attention, being the big man on campus, carrying all that. Why not go focus on basketball? I know when Overtime Elite started, Rip, I think it was $100,000 contracts, and I think that was a little controversial when it came out. But a lot of seniors not doing high school anymore. They got a couple of recruits. This guy Trey Parker. They got this guy Howard. So these kids are starting to see the value in going to a niche place like Overtime Elite, hone their skills, get the big problem was who's going to see them play. We talk about it with D. Wilkins. Everybody's going to see them play. Everybody has Amazon. More importantly, all the scouts, this thing's doubling up G League scouting events and tripling up European scouting events. So we got in early. Rip, nice booking. This was a very interesting interview, man.
Yeah, Damien, good guy. I think he had 10 years in the NBA, 12 years in the NBA. Everybody knows him from his uncle and his father. Great interview with the king of Overtime Elite right now, really taking them to the next level, DK. Check out this interview with the head of basketball and general manager at Overtime Elite, Damien Wilkins. Now joining the One Star Recruits podcast, we have a father, a 10-year NBA veteran, the current general manager, head of basketball at Overtime Elite, and the only person on this podcast to try the new baked apple croissant from Starbucks. Damien Wilkins is on with the One Star Recruits. Thanks for hopping on, Damien.
It is an amazing croissant. I had one the other day too.
Yeah, I knew it, man. You tweeted about it. It's only been out for like a month. It sounds like to me like 230 calories of pure deliciousness, man. Are you eating that thing like twice a week? Can we get a quick review?
It's seasonal. It's seasonal. After the 15th of October, it's done.
So you got to get it in while you can.
Man, I'm just
got to get it. You mix that pumpkin.
I'm trying to help you guys.
You mixing that pumpkin spice latte too, Damien, or no? Just the croissant.
Iced vanilla latte, oat milk.
Nice. Hey, we're about to tip off year 3 of Overtime Elite. There's so much momentum. Congratulations. The Thompson twins, who have been on this podcast, top 5 picks. They've landed in their NBA cities. Great human beings. We got a couple OTE ballers who got drafted as well. This year, we got Howard, John Bull. They've been showing out this preseason so far. Who else can basketball fans keep an eye on this coming season in person in Atlanta or on Amazon Prime?
I hate when I get that question, especially this year, because I try not to be biased. I think Jazeer Jackson, I think he's going to be someone who really surprises some people this year. The way he's played so far through preseason and our early preseason conditioning and stuff, he's just been amazing. I think a lot of it is attributed to the fact that he's in so much better shape this year than he has been in the past. But I'm looking for him to win our Most Improved Player award, if I'm honest. He's my early candidate for that. Daquan Davis is someone who is an absolute competitor. One of the best point guards that we have here, the guy who loves to play, loves to compete, just loves to get after it, gritty, and just a natural leader. And I'm excited about our 2027 group too, which includes my son, Jacob.
We're going to talk about that.
I'm excited about them. I'm excited about that little crew.
Oh, there's a hard question, and as I said it, I'm like, that's like picking your favorite kid, especially for you as a GM. Maybe for basketball fans who don't even get into Overtime Elite, maybe besides the documentary and a couple pieces in the draft. If you had to kind of boil it down to a couple sentences of basketball fans, why they should tune in, what would those couple sentences be to folks? Well,
number one, I think we are the premier basketball league for high school age basketball players. We have just a plethora of things that we offer in-house. I know for people who want to tune in, like we put on a great show. Like our games show amazing on Amazon Prime. Our guys come out and compete. We have some of the top talent that we bring in the building to play against our guys, some of the top talent in our league. Everything we do is quite frankly, is top notch. And if you want to watch high level basketball in this space, then this is the place to watch it. We have high scoring games. We have a lot of innovative things that we put into the game to make the speed the game up and to get fans interacted with it. But we also maintain the purity of basketball itself. We try to do a lot of things to build our audience because, again, if you don't have audience buy-in, then what's the point, right? Like if no one's watching you, it's hard to maintain any type of level of success. So Cam Wilder is a guy that's a part of is basically an influencer or mascot, if you will, of one of our teams here. So we do a lot of different things just to bring eyes to our players. And I think like once you watch what we do and you see what we've done in the past, I think you'll really appreciate it.
Yeah, man. And basketball fans, listeners out there, this is not some upstart, AFL, NFL thing. This is they hosted a pro day in Atlanta last month. Damien, tell me if I'm wrong. I think you had 50 NBA scouts, more than 50 colleges in attendance.
Yeah, we had a total of 150 scouts. And
amazing.
That surprisingly, that's the most that we've had since, we opened our doors. And I say that because last year we had 2 top 5 picks in our building and 4 or 5 other pros, right? And we didn't even have that many scouts. So I think it speaks to what those guys done in terms of paving the way and leaving behind something that people can respect. But I also think it's just a testament to the work that we've done in the proof of concept.
Yeah, totally. So basketball fans, there it is. That's what you need. I don't think it started to become a pipeline to the NBA. I know there's lots of colleges out there, but a lot of the best talent, we have the Thompson twins on. You can go back and listen to that interview. They were ready mentally, and now we're seeing physically in the preseason and what they're going to do. So giving your flowers, man, congratulations. That's huge from a basketball standpoint to have this much positive growth going your way.
Thank you.
I want to talk about you for a second, though, my man. So, listeners, Damien played with tons of amazing teams and players, including, I'm going to name some teams: Seattle Supersonics, the Timberwolves, Hawks, Detroit Pistons, 76ers, the Beijing Ducks, the Pacers. Let's do a D. Wilkins top teammate starting 5. So, if you had to pick one guy at each position you played with, who would be that starting lineup? Let's start with point guard.
Point guard, that's be tough. I would say Jeff Teague.
Great podcaster, by the way.
He is hilarious.
He is a great podcaster, Rip. Wow, I didn't expect Jeff Teague. Amazing. I'm not going to stay too long on them. One thing about Jeff Teague that made him amazing point guard, though.
He was willing to learn.
Yeah.
Once I was a teammate with him, he was young, right, and eager to get out there and prove himself, like most young guys do. I was young, I was the same way. But he was willing to learn. He was willing to be patient, and he worked his butt off. So I always respect that.
Good communicator too. We've learned in his post-career days. Probably good communicator on the basketball court, I would imagine. It's helpful.
Yeah. Shooting
guard, Damien.
Ray Allen.
Oh yeah. What team was that? Did you play with him on? That was
Seattle.
Yeah, that was Seattle. That was young. That was young Ray Allen, man. He was spotting up for those threes and taking a leadership role nice and early, huh?
Yeah, man. The thing that people don't appreciate about Ray is how athletic he was. Like Ray used to catch bodies.
Oh yeah.
Like a lot. And like even me, when I first got there with him to Seattle, I didn't realize like how much he was dunking on people too. But we always
bounce.
The only thing we talk about is his shooting ability, which is, we should, but he was super dynamic.
Good reminder, man. Good reminder of a young Ray Allen. YouTube listeners, Supersonics, Ray Allen. If you haven't in a while, you'll be inspired for sure. Small forward, your position. You were kind of a tweener, but small forward.
It's a tough one right there. I would say Rashard Lewis.
Back to Seattle again.
Yeah.
Wow, Rashad's another great player. YouTube that one too, youngsters. So many great ones. That's why I love doing this.
He was way before his time, man. Like
defense, tall, power forward. How about power forward, Damien?
Chris Wilcox.
Maryland guy. Nice.
One of the funniest guys I've ever met in my life, man. Like Chris Wilcox for sure.
Kept the locker room light. Chris Wilcox, center.
Al Jefferson.
Al Jefferson. What memory comes to mind for Al Jefferson? First one.
We were playing in Minnesota, game 1 of our season in Minnesota Timberwolves. It's me, a lineup that was on the floor. Me, Corey Brewer, Johnny Flynn, Kevin Love, and Al Jefferson. 2 seconds left on the clock. They swing the ball to me. It's a tie ball game. I catch it, take one dribble, shoot it, win the game. We running off into the locker room. Al Jefferson yells out, "Yeah, we going to the finals." The next 19 games in a row, we lost.
Oh, the curse. The Jefferson curse.
After every one of those games, coach, like at the time it was Kurt Rambis was our head coach. After every one of those losses, Kurt Rambis would look at Al Jefferson and be like, "God, I hate you." We were 1-19 to start the season.
Shout out Big Al, man. Some wonderful footwork. Al Jefferson. So just a quick recap. We got Jeff Teague, Ray Allen, Rashard Lewis, Chris Wilcox, Al Jefferson. Yeah. Mark the tape. Amazing starting five. Thank you, man. I have one more question before I give it to Rip. I love the G League. I worked in the G League. I'm a big proponent of it. A great human and friend, Malik Rose, who's now an executive in the G League. Amazing dude.
My guy, he was one of my teammates. I played with him.
He didn't make the all-teammate list, but he was probably close, probably a backup.
That's my guy. I couldn't put him over Chris Wilcox though, but he was my guy. I played with him.
Fair. Good. So you guys are close, ex-teammates. I know you still talk. I know he kind of was influenced in getting this job and getting you involved in the management side of things. How closely are you involved with what the G League has going on? And do you see plans of mixing these programs together a little bit more over time?
I mean, I hope so. We're certainly not in competition with them. Like we have guys that we've sent to the G League, Ignite, as a matter of fact, like Ethan and Tyler Smith, those guys. And I think will be great if we can, become a feeder for them. What a lot of people don't really understand or even say more than like the way they should is that the G League is professional basketball, right? And it's respectable because you got a lot of guys there grinding, and what it does, it reminds you of how difficult it is to make it to the NBA, because you have guys down there just putting up ridiculous numbers, and it what it does is it tells you, right, like the things that an NBA team needs and the things that the NBA team doesn't need from you. And I love that transparency and that honesty that it naturally gives you. Like for me, when I played in the G, I played in the Swarm. I was averaging like 28, 8, and 5, shooting 50, 40, 90, right? And like it wasn't like that I was trying to do that every night, but it was what I felt like we needed to do for us to just have a chance to win, because our team wasn't very good. And I remember my teammates, the younger guys, used to ask me all the time, like, "You should have been going, you should have been got a call up." I said, "You know what? Unfortunately, like teams don't want to see this from me, but I don't know how to come out here and play like any other way that's going to give us a chance to win." I was like, so this is a reminder to you guys, and this is after I've already played 10 years in the NBA, so it wasn't really like something I was like, I had to have, or I was counting on. I wanted it, but it was just like, if it didn't happen, like I knew at the end of that year, like I was ready to pack it up and go home anyway. But I used to tell these guys, like, this is a reminder to you, like sitting in your locker room with you, that sometimes these NBA teams, and most times, they already have their CEO, their VP, their chairmen, their CFO. Like they need you guys to come in and be the mailroom attendant, the janitor, the secretary, the people that come in and do the little things. Because if you can do those things and they can see that you can buy into a role, because everyone in the NBA are role players. It's only like 15 stars. Everyone else is a role player. No matter how you slice it, they're role players. They want to see that you guys can buy into that, because they're not going to ask you necessarily to do the things that the G League team that you're on is asking you to do to help your team win. And that's the challenge of it, right? Like learning how to just accept the role. And I think the G League does that better than anyone.
Yeah, so good. I was in Santa Cruz for a hot minute, and we had Seth Curry, Steph's younger brother, fresh coming out of Duke, trying to figure out his game and his role. And you see it live in effect. You kind of, you see it start to develop, and it's that area where you can do it in maybe a safer area in the G League, or something like even overtime league. You're doing a great job, man. Thank you for asking for going through all my questions. Amazing answers.
Oh, thank you, thank you.
It's an interesting thing because we know everyone in the league can go out there and put up 20, but they're not all asked to do that. So, like you said, you gotta
Yeah,
find that role and fit in it, and you could have a long career just doing that one
sure,
thing.
for sure.
Hey, we end every interview with the segment we call 1 star to 5 star. Everybody knows, man, we're 1 stars, but we're trying to get better with advice and tips from every guest we have on this podcast, like yourself. So I want to just ask, I think I've got 4 questions here, and we'll use a 1 to 5 star scale, 1 being the lowest, 5 being the highest. Some people think of Overtime Elite as strictly an alternative to playing college basketball. Like DK mentioned the G League, and we just talked about that, where you actually get paid to play before hopefully going pro. But much less is talked about in regard to the high school program that exists at OTE. And we talked about it for a second. Your son Jaden, I believe, is a freshman in that program. For people who don't know about that option, the high school program, what's the 5 star pitch that you give on what they can expect from not only you're the GM now, but also a father whose son is living that life right now? What's the 5 star pitch on that?
The 5 star pitch. I mean, listen, like we have two paths. One is a professional path, one is a scholarship option, right? The professional path, you get paid a salary. We honestly don't even encourage people to take that path anymore because, some people in this NIL world that you have now, like you can make that amount of money through that or whatever we would pay you on a professional salary through that and then maintain your college eligibility. So we're not going to take the professional option away because what we do and what we believe in the heart of what we are is optionality, right? Like something it's never been done before to this scale, so a scholarship player comes in and maintains their eligibility. Obviously a pro player, they give up their college eligibility. That option in itself opened up a whole new world for us in terms of recruiting, because now it's like, what are you afraid of to come here, right? And even then with that, we still do, we're very selective about who we bring here because sometimes it's not for everyone. We've had a lot of high-level guys that we've recruited that we also felt like maybe this isn't the path for them. They'd rather still maintain or be the big fish in their small pond, which is fine. But our exposure is second to none, right? Like you said, we have 150 NBA college overseas scouts at our pro day, and we haven't even played an official game yet. So, and we have another pro day in the spring. We play all our games on Amazon Prime. We have a 6-part docuseries out that chronicles what we do in here every day. We have an academic and health and performance, teams here respectfully that everything is customized. Your training and facility is customized. Your training, your branding and social stuff, it's all customized for you. There's no other path that you can go to at this level and get this type of exposure. And not for nothing, like the last and certainly not least, like you'll get to compete against guys out there on the floor who's either better than you or just as good. So that iron is gonna sharpen the iron.
Yep.
Right. Like, so if you really are serious about what you want to do and the player you want to become and the person professionally that you want to become, I wouldn't think that there's a better option for you. And speaking of my son is here, and I'm a dad before I'm anything.
Yep.
I wouldn't hand this or even ask someone to come here, right, for something I didn't believe in. Like, my son is here. Like, I wouldn't have allowed my son to be here if I didn't believe in it.
I know, man. You, as a parent, you want to pick the best schools for your kids, and that just shows it right there. That you're,
Sure.
Like you said, from that perspective, it's a lot different.
For
Uh,
sure.
the Wilkins name, your last name, carries a ton of weight in Atlanta, and really the history of basketball. Your dad, Gerald, played for 13 years in the NBA. Uncle Dominique is, of course, a Hall of Famer. You had a 10-year career as well. Lots of positives to having a famous name, I'm sure. But what's a 1 star thing about carrying a name that everyone knows for your whole life? Maybe something that you tell your son right now, growing up, that you would handle differently if you could have having that name.
I don't know if there's anything that I would do differently in terms of the name itself. Like, I didn't ask to be here, and I didn't ask to be a Wilkins, right? And neither did my son or my other children as well. So I think for me, like, it means nothing without me respecting the people that came before me, right? My dad and my uncle, they did great things with their career. My uncle's a Hall of Famer. My dad, a 14-year NBA career. My job as a Wilkins in this space in basketball is to just respect what they've done by respecting myself and being the best version of myself that I can be each and every day and not bringing any embarrassment, not only to them, but to my children. You know, my son is here, and people know who I am here in this space. And then obviously with our docu-series has come out, like now the world knows. So like I have to be careful in the things that I do when I'm not in this office, things I say, how I talk to people, how I treat people, all of those things, because all those things are the reason why I am where I am today. It doesn't have a lot to do with how much people know, and that's the gag of it all. Like, it's not about what you know. Like, a lot of it, and probably most of it, quite frankly and honestly, is how you treat people, because that's what people remember the most, right? Like, I can sit down and talk to you guys about basketball all day long, but like if I'm an asshole about it, like, you guys aren't gonna, you know what I mean? Like, that's not gonna help.
Yeah, it makes me think of checking in at a hotel. If the energy's right and it's late and you're tired and somebody asks about it, cool to go into it. If it's kind of the energy's not right, it's not really worth your time a little bit. That's a great answer,
Exactly.
man.
So like, yeah, like, so it's and I just try to teach that to him, my son that's here now, like, just understanding, like, number one, who all came before you and the work that they've had to put in to get to where they got to, and the careers that we all had. Respect that. That don't mean you have to follow that, but just respect that. And if you're gonna follow it, just know that that is a huge responsibility. And you can't run from it. Unfortunately, like, it is what it is. Like, I used to tell my dad all the time, like, I don't want to wear 21. I don't want to wear number 21. I don't want to wear it. And
That's what I
there
was
it
gonna
is.
ask about the number. Is
Yeah,
Is
like,
Jaden
so
wearing
I
it
did.
too?
Jaden wears 21. Like, I was always used to fight it. I want to be my own man. I want to be my own man. He was like, you can be your own man. It's not about the number. He was like, if you wore 88, it's still gonna say Wilkins on the back.
Yeah.
He had to help me understand that. So he's gonna forever be a Wilkins. I'm gonna forever be a Wilkins. But for me, I think I tell him all the time, like, just be respectful to people, treat people the right way, and work your butt off in whatever it is that you do.
I love that
That
perspective.
defines who I am and who I want my people in my family or generations after me to be.
Yeah, I appreciate you giving that side of it, because honestly, like, none of us can relate to it because we don't have that legacy in the same game. And we're glad you're not an asshole. We're glad you're not an asshole, so that's good too. I got two more here. Your first NBA experience was, we talked about it, a member of the Sonics. You played four of the best years of your career up at Seattle, and then actually you wound up going to OKC for the first year of that franchise.
Yeah,
We've had some Sonics icons on this podcast. Detlef Schrempf a few months ago. Big Seattle guys like Jason Terry. Everyone's practically begging for the NBA to give Seattle a team at this point.
yeah,
Uh, on a scale of 1 to 5 stars, how much is that a must do? Should be at the top of Adam Silver's list, even within the next like year and a half. What are you thinking
for
on that?
sure. That was, I mean, I couldn't have started my career off at a better place, to be honest. And quite frankly, when I got the call to come out there, I was like, where the hell is Seattle? Like, where is this place? And everything that I heard or had read about it was like gloomy. People commit suicide every day. It's raining. Like, I was like, this is not a place that I want to go to. And then I got out there and realized that people there are amazing people. The city is fun. It's great seafood. I'm pescatarian, so it was great for me. It was peaceful. Sure, it was cloudy a lot, but it didn't rain as much as people said it rained. So just the fans, the organization, it was just a great place to play basketball. In terms of them bringing it back, man, like, it should have been done yesterday. And
Yeah.
I hope that the sooner the better, man, because that fan base deserves it. The city itself, honestly, ain't hurting for any money, because some of the biggest organizations and richest people in the world live in the state of Washington, right? Like, you got
Yeah.
Nordstrom's out there, Boeing, you have Bill Gates, like all these, like all Microsoft, all these people that's out
Amazon.
there,
Yeah.
Amazon, Starbucks, everything is out there. So the sooner the better. And they have amazing sports fans, as you can see if you watch a Seattle Seahawks game. Like the 12th man, they are a special group of people, man. Like it is unbelievable to play sports in Seattle.
Seattle and Vegas. It sounds like probably 2025 is gonna happen, man.
I
Um,
hope so.
we got to close this out with we got to shoot our shot because we all saw the Mr. Beast thing. He's got his Feastables patch on the Charlotte Hornets uniforms. We're one stars. We're trying to get more into the marketing and NIL space. We got about a $250 budget. Can we get like a centimeter of our logo on
Oh,
the
come on,
OTE
Rip.
Elite jersey? I know you
250?
got some patches on there. Yeah, I mean, hey, we're one stars, man.
You said just get a one and a star put up there.
Yeah, we got a logo we could add on there. What's the going rate, man? What do you open to
Uh,
that?
I'm
First
open.
podcast.
I'm open to connecting to you guys to the person who does it.
Ignore
What a
that question.
non-answer. What a
Ignore that
non-answer.
question, Damien. Ignore that question. Rip. We will keep working on our reach until we have a bigger budget, Mr. Wilkins. But we appreciate
your budget can't be too bad. You are in Hawaii.
That's true. That's true. Maybe we could up it a little bit. You know, my wife has a good job. What can I say?
Hey, everyone go follow Damien at dwilkins3000 on Twitter, at dwilk3000 on Instagram. Overtime Elites everywhere on social media. They're not hard to find. You can check out One Shot on Amazon Prime Video. Hey, congratulations on taking OTE to new heights, Damien. You're doing so many great things for those Hoopers down in Atlanta. We look forward to watching this thing keep growing and you leading the way. Thank you, man, for coming on One Star Recruits.
Hey, appreciate you guys for having me, man. This was fun.
Thank you,
Get your
man.
tickets. Get your tickets. Thank you. All right, there we go. One stars. The future. It's college and the system that it is. It's the G League and the NBA. They're a nice family. And then the second level down is the Ignite, which now play in Las Vegas, and the Overtime Elite. So we'll see. Rip, if I'm a betting man, I'm thinking Overtime Elite. All that it matters is that guys get drafted early and they're able to be productive NBA players. So what's beautiful is time will tell.
I like that hierarchy you spelled out. And really, it's all about leadership and just talking to Damien for 30 minutes. I mean, he seems like a guy. He has the relationships. He has the experience. He has the legacy. I mean, he's the perfect guy to be leading this thing up. So I'm excited to see where he takes it, man.
NBA tipping off next Tuesday. I pulled the trigger on NBA ticket for $99 when you texted me. If listeners remember, I was a strong proponent of not getting NBA ticket last year because I myself had the California Plus YouTube package, which lots of NBA teams in the state of California, lots of opposing teams. So that doubles down. And you also have TNT, NBA TV, and ESPN games. So you pretty much had it covered. This year, you texted me, bro. I'm curious if you pulled the trigger too. Did you get NBA ticket?
I was gonna do it because $99 is a complete steal, and I'm now a YouTube TV subscriber, as mentioned on this pod before, for NFL ticket. But you know what, DK? I think immediately when you signed up, I'm on your family account from before. I got an email saying the head of your account, Dana DK, has subscribed to League Pass. This is what you have to do to watch it. So I'm gonna try that route, man. I might mooch off yours for a little bit and see if it works.
Oh yeah, legit, because you're in my family plan. Well, we want to see the same players anyway. We can talk about it. I want to see Wemby and the Spurs. I want to see the Orlando Magic. I want to see the New Orleans Pelicans. Those, along with watching Scoot Henderson run the pick and roll in Portland and do some amazing finishes. Mark my words, listeners. This guy runs the heaviest, smoothest. I know that's an oxymoron, pick and roll, and he finishes so amazing. Wemby too had some finishes. It's going to be it's an NBA ticket sort of year. So I pulled the trigger there, Rip. I'm excited about it. Who are you most surprised about in the preseason, and what's pumping you up as we tip off on Tuesday?
I know you mentioned Detroit off the top. I'm definitely looking forward to seeing our guy Asar Thompson out there, along with some of those other young guys. But mine, man, is probably someone that no one's thinking about because I'm not watching this for a lot of wins, but I'm watching it for pure entertainment. It's the Washington Wizards, DK. I'm excited about the Jordan Poole and Kyle Kuzma offensive package pairing, but I'm also excited for a guy that I think is really good, Tyus Jones from Duke. I think this is the first chance he's ever had to be a starting point guard. Like this is his job, a starting point guard for the Wizards. He backed up Ja for a while in Memphis, and I think he's still only like 26 years old, but My sleeper of the year is Tyus Jones is going to be a top 3 in the NBA in assists. DK, they're going to have some offense, and our guy Corey Kispert, who has had a great start to his career. He was on this podcast before. You can go back and listen to that episode with Corey Kispert from Gonzaga, right, DK? But yeah, the Washington Wizards, man, that's my squad this year for League Pass.
A good one. Yeah, I like that. I like that point guard too. You're totally right. Makes perfect sense. I think the Timberwolves minus Cat, I think he's still going to be very problematic. But if you pull him out of the equation, I'm excited for the Timberwolves. Utah Jazz, I think Walker Kessler might be a sleeping defensive player of the year, possibly.
Yeah.
So mix in a little Utah Jazz. I think they re-up with Jordan Clarkson. He's just going to be a better player. Good stuff. My biggest question mark and what if, there's 2 of them. Zion. That's why the Pelicans hit my list. I'm just curious. I'm a big fan of Casey Hill. Zion, though, what are we going to get? Has he passed his prime of doing stuff? He does look like he's in shape. And then I want to see if John Morant can bounce back. Speaking of pick and rolls and finishing, he finishes without the pick and rolls, alley-oops flying around that Scoot's doing on this pick and roll. But can John Morant come back mentally, be the player and leader that he was becoming? And God, Jackson, after that pitiful USA basketball performance, has to step up too. They're going to get revamped, though, without Dylan Brooks. So there it is.
I'm going to tie that all together real quick. John Morant suspended for 25 games. By the time he gets back, will Zion still be healthy? I know they're 2 different teams, but just Zion has a crazy injury history. Will he be out for the year by the time John Morant gets back to playing games?
It's right on, and I'm going to take the under, though. About 22 to 25 games. That's the thing, and I hate to see it, but I think he might have passed his area. We get older. We get bigger. Things get messed up. You have a small window to do the stuff he was doing at Duke. So nobody mentioned the Phoenix Suns, our Phoenix Suns, huh, Rick?
That's a given. That's a given that they're a must-watch every game this year. That's probably the reason you actually got League Pass is to see what happens with this team, because it's probably our best chance at a title going into a season since the Steve Nash days, right? I mean, we got to the finals a few years ago, but like if you look at the team going into the season, title chances, I think this is our best chance since those Steve Nash days.
We'll save it for next week after it tips off, but I'm anxiously nervous, and I can't fully explain it yet. Something's not fitting right together. There's something happening that just doesn't feel completely right, and I'll know more once we see these starters out there playing. 1-star moments of the week. Listeners, we talk about our 1-star moments. We try to keep them short and sweet to finish up the podcast. I have one, Rip. It involves my club of choice. I just became a member at the lovely club of Costco. This time, I went to go get a prescription filled. It was a new thing for me. Have you done that ever?
No, I'm a CVS guy, man. I'm anxious to hear about this experience.
So first is Money Saver. I did do a price check. Money Saver on it was animal medicine. So obviously the vet versus Costco, pretty clear. I mean, you don't have to be a dummy to figure that one out, but relatively significant, 45% cheaper at Costco. So bring my prescription over there, Costco. Here's where the problem happens. Here's where the 1-star happens. The nice woman filling the script, very easy. Show my Costco card, scan it, boom, 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 boom. She said it'll be ready in 40 minutes. We'll text you. 40 minutes. It's too short to leave the building, but 20 minutes too long to stay in Costco and not make buying mistakes, right?
Oh,
you know what I mean?
Oh, dangerous amount of time downtime in Costco right there.
Downtime because I wasn't planning on it, so I didn't. I actually thought it would maybe be a day, and I would come back the next day. Very fast, so very very helpful. So worst buy that didn't fit in my freezer or fridge. Actually, when I got home, completely embarrassing. We had to make them very quickly, but I bought 100 soft pretzel bites with 3 different cheeses. In my mind, we were going to watch Diamondbacks baseball and have pretzel bites, and it was going to be lovely. Maybe put some hot dogs and cheese in them. In my mind. As soon as we get back to our rental, small freezer, small fridge, doesn't fit.
Did you eat all 100?
We ate about 25, bless our souls. The rest are actually they're actually now in the refrigerator in the vegetable compartment. And I don't think they're good anymore. It's been 7 days. I'll give them a go tonight. I'll get back to you next week. So bad buy, $13.99 down the toilet. I only used one of the cheeses. I still have 2 cheeses in my freezer. So Although I love soft pretzels, too many. Something to not buy at Costco. My best buy though, Rip, was a kind of a sleeper item. It was a throw-in item that a week later turns out to be the MVP. You have a guess?
Let's go with a fruit. Avocados. A bag of avocados.
The bag of avocados would be the dumbest thing to buy at Costco in a house of two. You would lose all of those avocados in after 4 days. Terrible guess. The sleeper of the Costco trip was I'm renting a house with animals for $12.99. We got the softest holiday style blanket you've ever seen. Dogs fucking love it. Dogs love it. I just gave it its first wash yesterday after it already smells of dog. Re-threw it on the bed. Happiest dogs ever. Sleeper W of my Costco trip. A blanket. That's where I'm at in life, bro. That's what's happening in my 1-star moments.
Hey, you turned a 1-star into a 5-star though. R.I.P. to those pretzel bites, man. I could use about 30 of those
I
right
thought
now.
about inviting a couple people over and having like a little party, and I was almost too embarrassed, but that would have been a good party.
My advice, man, don't throw them out. 7 days is not too long for them to be sitting. Eat them for dinner tonight, DK. There's a D-backs game tonight. Eat them during that game. Come on.
I'm gonna eat them tonight. I'm gonna put a little hot dog inside of them and see if I can do a pretzel dog.
You cannot waste 75 pretzel bites. We're 1-stars, man. Come on.
Appreciate the support, bro. How about you? You got a moment of the week you're not that proud of?
Yeah, I got a little embarrassing moment just happened a few hours ago. Actually, I went to Nordstrom Rack last week to replenish my stock of shorts. So I bought like 4 pairs of shorts. I really needed shorts. And one, I tried them on in the dressing room and they felt good. But one of them I felt like might have been a little too big, but I liked them so much and they were such a good deal that I bought them anyway. So I wore them today. There's just gray, like golf type shorts. I wore them and I was walking the dogs, and one of the dogs yanked me. And so I kind of made a lunge to grab the dog, and the shorts are so big, they fell down. So they fell down. I was right in front of a park in my boxers for like probably 3.5 seconds. And I look across the street right next to the park. There's like 4 cars parked there with people in the cars, like waiting for lunch or whatever. So probably like 15 feet from me across the street, 4 people in these random cars saw me like just in my boxers for 3.5 seconds. So I'm gonna have to gain some weight. I went home and changed the shorts because I can't be doing this all the time. It's kind of a hazard. So I went and changed the shorts, and I'm probably not gonna be able to put them back on until I gain a couple inches in my waist. So 1-star moment of the week, man. Luckily I had shorts on. It wasn't commando, but that's it right there.
What size are you?
I think I'm like a 31. That's the problem. I'm a 31, which is kind of an odd size. So I tried on a 30 and I tried on a 32. The 30 was too small and the 32 was a little bit too big. So I went with the bigger ones, and like, I wash them, they might shrink a little bit. I'm probably going to gain weight at some point. So that's where I'm at, man. I went with the big ones, and they're probably going to be sitting in my drawer for a while.
You take yourself over to Playa del Rey, go into a men's warehouse, and have them do your waist so you get actual memory. You sent me, God bless you and your family, some shorts after the fire. Wonderful humans, great humans. Yeah, those must be 34s, and I'm a 30 now, Rip. There's no chance, even with a belt, those things aren't fully staying on. So I think we got sizing issues at the Rip House a little bit.
It's one of those things that not all men figure out in their life. So you run into these things every so often, man. Last time I saw you, you were probably at 33. I didn't take into account your 40 pounds of weight loss in the last 6 months.
What a 1-star! It's a lot that goes into it, but you want to be. You can't have your pants falling down as a 42-year-old adult with children, Rip. It just can't happen anymore. We can't. We need a 31. We need to probably 30 range and be a little uncomfortable.
The funny thing is now, like with all the cameras out there, I'm definitely on someone's like ring camera or security camera out there. Just like I possibly will be on next door later tonight or somewhere along the line. But I'd actually like to see that video. I'd kind of laugh at that.
Be a meme, man. Like that Chargers fan on Monday Night Football. You see her? Celebrity now.
I watched the game for 10 minutes and they showed her 6 times. I said, who is this woman and why do they keep showing her? I was done with her.
Get her out to the pyramid, man. They need more fans like that in Long Beach, bro. 1-star recommendation. Let's bring us home. I'll kick it off. This is not a new thing. I've even probably mentioned on this podcast, but I was reminded of it this week. And listeners, we're starting to get out of summer, but it's still hot, especially some places. I know Arizona's still 100 plus, which is crazy. Utilize the cold shower when you need not when you do your shower, when you need a mood or vibe upgrade. You get a dopamine hit and you get a reset when that cold shower hits your back and your chest. So I do a warm and I finish cold. So it's nothing new. Cold plunge is everything. Everybody loves the cold plunge now. Very pop culture. Very, very, very big deal to cold plunge it out. But friendly reminder, as we get into the holiday season and life's hard, if you need a mood reset or just a dopamine hit and you want to kind of cleanse, go do a hot to cold shower, finish cold, let it go on your shoulders, let it hit your face, cold shower, you will have a full reset, Rip. Recommendation of the week.
I've heard so much about that. I know it's a big thing with like Marines and Navy SEALs, but I've never gotten into it, man. I might have to try it. I might try at least a polar plunge, like our guy Paul Wall.
Just commit to trying a cold shower, Rip. That's a very easy thing. You have 7 days this whole next week. One time for the podcast, Rip.
How long do I have to stand in there for? Just like the last 60 seconds?
Sure. Put it on cold when you put your final rinse off on. Yeah, 60 seconds is beautiful. Let me know if that resets your mood. Try to do a shower when you're not feeling great.
I can do that. 60 seconds. I'm committed. I got DK. I'm gonna take the easy one out. This was actually already on my list before you even talked about it, because like you said, NBA starts next week. It's not all of us can be fortunate to be on DK's family account for YouTube TV. So I'm going. It's League Pass, man. It's one of the best deals in sports to me, because NFL ticket is like $300 on YouTube, which isn't that bad of a deal. But League Pass, you're talking, it's 1,230 games, DK, over the course of the NBA regular season. And this season, you got the in-season tournament for $99, man. I don't know the math on that. I'm not a math major, but that has to come out to like 10 cents a game or probably even less, man. So $99, League Pass. It's not just YouTube TV. It's anywhere too, I believe. So check it out, man. Sign up. Watch the Wizards. Watch the Pistons. Watch Wemby. NBA League Pass, $99, DK. Easy rec of the week right there.
We are not paid members of the National Basketball Association, but sweet Lord, we should be. Lots of good basketball talk in this podcast. Rip, next week it's on again. We're going to keep it in pro sports. And you know what? Hit the music again. I got just 2 more questions. We're going to finish strong with Rip's reaction. Screw it.
Let's go.
Stevie Scalise drops out of the speaker's race as House GOP is in a leadership crisis. We're not a politics pod. So I'll open this speaker up to anybody in the world, Rip. If you can assign the next Speaker of the House, who do you name?
Yeah, I mean, you need someone that's a proven leader and someone that has a lot of enthusiasm and energy. So I'm going to go with Steve Ballmer, man. You see him at Clippers games going crazy. Just to bring this back to the NBA, I think he'd be a great person. Lots of leadership experience, lots of business experience, lots of experience bringing people together. I think he'd be a good one, man. Steve Ballmer, let's go.
Steve Ballmer. You remember Fife Symington?
Trying to get impeached, man. That's an Arizona governor from the 90s.
I think he did a bad business at the Mercado by the Arena the Suns play out. Freaking name, man. Let's bring us home, bro. Suzanne Summers, fitness icon, star of Three's Company, has passed away. R.I.P. Cancer battle. Rip, please hit us with the beginning of the song Three's Company.
Oh my God, I know a part of it. I don't know the beginning. You got the first. Give me the first few words. You got it?
Come and knock on my door.
We've been waiting for you. It's his and hers. Three's Company too. Something like that, man. This is the point of the show where we lose 10% of our subscribers. So I don't know why you keep doing this, DK. It's a bad ending to the show, but rest in peace, Suzanne Summers. You were one of my childhood crushes and very courageous battle with cancer. So rest in peace.
Hey, you just showed your age too, 60s and 70s, early 70s. So Rip was, there you go. We'll be back next week, listeners. 5 stars. Peace.
See you next week.